the Medford and Anonymous series, Part 5.
So we can only see so far with the senses, with the greatest telescopes. And even when you use a microscope, the matter becomes an energy, and then they got these energies below the energies, the quarks, and some atomic particles, and ultimately, it gets into the invisible. And now, the invisible, which all comes from, all the visible comes from, and there's an awareness of all these visible things. There's an intelligence manifesting through the plants, through the animals, through the galaxies. So, it's just so hard to comprehend that, if there's an intelligence, being. What's the disconnect?
Wow, now that I'm thinking about that whole Christ journey and crucifixion, it has almost everything in it. It almost shows the mirror of our unconsciousness and our cruelty, and it also makes us realize that there is something else, that there is something higher, and that ultimately it's even greater than death itself. There's a resurrection of the self. So this is it's very sort of simplistic and yet, or realistic, and yet it's almost has everything in that story that can tell us the transformation process.
And by example, not just theoretical, high tower, I got nothing to do with the regular books. It was brought out to the ancient mysteries from Greece and Egypt, and whatever, Atlantis, and the ancient mystery. It was brought out and shared with the regular folks. It wasn't kept for the elite, just for the few, not for the rest. We are better than the rest.
Whoa, that reminds me of a scripture that says, kings and princes wish they understood what you see. Something like that. I'm sure you've heard that.
Yeah, well, or, a child shall confound them,
Oh, yeah.
A child, it's like, because ultimately, it's like Dante, you Virgil, logic, the philosopher takes you through hell and purgatory, but logic can't take you to heaven. It's nature, it's represented in love or intuition, which Goethe says is the highest form of reasoning. His story, Faust, the man making a deal with the devil and know everything, all knowledge, but he still wanted to kill himself. Love saves him. So it's the same story of the two halves of the brain, and we can't know it all logically. It's good to use the brain, nobody's saying don't, but beware of getting entangled in it, that it thinks it's going to count all those stars in space, and until it does, it won't be happy, or it's going to see everything under a microscope that it can see. This is the thing, we use these words, we don't know what it's, these scientists, they're good ones, but they can't make an apple seed with all their knowledge, all their factories, laboratories. They cannot make an apple seed. They can take the apple seed and play with it. They cannot make a seed. And that should humble them all. And they're trying to figure it out, and at that point when they're touching something that seems to evaporate in their hand, it comes a point where it's like, whoa, I'm not on solid ground.
Yeah.
And we're not. We're in space, spaceship Earth, as Buckminster Fuller would say, did say. So in conclusion, and by the way, it's not just these great experiences, it's every step along the way, when you come out of that meditation, because there's three things to summarize. Body's a temple, keep it clean. 2, we get tuned up, we meditate, then we say our prayers, then we get up and we go do something. We get up, we say hello to a neighbor, we help them when they gotta move something, or the cat's out in the backyard, it's hungry, give it some food. These are great deeds. It's these little things that seem to be little that are just as important as what we see way up there in the mountain. It's all connected, and it's like Casey would say, we don't go to heaven, we grow to heaven. So, the small things are important, that seem small, hugging somebody, writing somebody a letter, calling somebody up, giving somebody a book, giving them a piece of music. By the way, speaking of music, it's Peter Gabriel. Sorry, Peter, That's Peter Gabriel's Last Temptation of Christ, Scorsese's wonderful movie. You know, when he had the temptation, that temptation not to do it. Don't do it. You can have a family. There's a lot of money. You can stay here and enjoy the pleasures of the flesh, you know. And he had that moment of temptation. I'm sure he did. He had temptations out in that desert. And we can relate to that because he was tempted like us, you know. He did feel the body urges. He did have those desires, you know. But it makes it even more of a victory that he said no. While feeling them, he still said no. It isn't just about me. I love those who are beyond the faith I grew up in. I love them so much. I'm going to be used to give an example that divided BC and AD. An example of what it is to lead a loving life. Not just talking about it. Lead a loving life. What is loving life? Helping people who are sick, physically, emotionally, mentally, get out of the suffering. You know, that's the crisscrosses from Buddha. The truth doesn't change. It's our perception of it that changes, that continues to grow, as you were saying, evolving. The truth is eternal. We said before the earth was put in place, it will be after it's gone back to the sun one day. So that's my message. You know, Ishta. I wish you all get Ishta, your meditations and your good deeds, because I'll end up with this for now. God gives us 24 hours a day. Most people being hurt and lost, we take like arts reflect societies. Vampire movies very popular. They take zombie movies. They don't think zombies. Most of us not thinking. It's a reflection of where we are when we don't apply these truths. So basically, you know, I would just say that gives us, always uplifts us. Like when my mom passed, I went to nature. I know you're out there now, Medford. And it feeds us. And then when they said, duh, I'm a part of nature. Because everything in nature is in us. Water, gas, liquid, solids. 3/4 of the earth is water, 3/4 of us. And I said, you know, I hear about this meditation. This man Casey said, I got to learn to do it like I learned how to walk and talk. It's a struggle. And thank God it should take a little time because you get access to such a loving power. What are you going to do with it? So the impulsive folks are discouraged. They don't have the fruits of the Spirit. They don't, with their will, they choose not to be patient, to surrender. They got to do it. So they go away. You know? And so that always uplifts nature, and when you meditate, you always uplift it. Now that always uplifts and never puts us down, no matter what. Never puts us down. It's always saying, come up, come on, forgive yourself, forgive others. Keep coming up, you know. You missed the mark, you sin. You're not going to hell forever. You just add a tune up your guitar, tune up your body. And if that always uplifts, and it does, out of 24 hours, how much can I get to that compared to the TV, to computers, the books, my work, you know, other people? How much can I give them at least an hour, 1 hour? And that's a simple psychology test. It will save you a lot of money. If you can't, I feel sad for you. But if you realize that sadness can end and people are giving you a loving reminder, use your will, struggle with it like that, wait in the beginning, and stay into meditation. It won't stay a struggle. You're going to get a moment where you're going to say, you're going to feel what's underneath your conditioned self. You're going to be nourished by it, and that will encourage you to keep doing it. So that's my message from out here in Anonymous Land. You know,
all right, thank
keep
you.
on.
Thank you, Anonymous. That was wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome, Medford, and we'll do it again someday. So
Yes.
I wish you a good Easter, you know, and enjoy your day. It's a gift. And he had that moment of temptation. He did. He had temptations out in that desert. But it makes it even more of a victory that he said no. Welcome. while feeling them, he still said, no, it isn't just about me. I love those who are beyond the faith I grew up in. I love them so much, I'm going to be used to give an example that divided BC and AD. An example of what it is to lead a loving life. The truth doesn't change. It's our perception of it that changes, that continues to grow, as you were saying, evolving. The truth is eternal.
This concludes this discourse.